Hi everyone, welcome. In this session, we will learn about MongoDB. MongoDB is one of the free, open source, and document-oriented database program. Very first question that comes to the mind of everyone who has already worked with any of the existing RDBMS such as Oracle or SQL Server is, well, how is this different from the RDBMS that I already know? Short answer is RDBMS follows a fixed table structure or database structure, and you have to adhere to the same structure and keep adding all the records as per the enforcement. Whereas in MongoDB, uh, it doesn't follow a strict structure. So within the table, you can always keep adding more attributes on need basis or not add some of the attributes. In other words, the structure is flexible. There are other differences in MongoDB too, such as you can't use joins, and such restrictions forces you to come up with a fresh approach on your database design rather than coming from the same SQL background and then trying to design the same kind of database. If we go too deep into the differences between RDBMS and MongoDB, or how do we design the table structure or databases in MongoDB, probably those topics deserve a separate videos in themselves. Maybe we will have separate videos later on, but for this video, we will try to restrict ourselves to the topic of introduction, and in this video itself we will try to create a simple table. Now to install, let's go to mongodb.com, and from here let's go to download link, and then since I'm using Windows, I'll choose the download MSI. It will take a minute to download. You don't really need to register if you don't want to. Let's install this MSI, and it says it's gonna install. I accept, and I say complete install. And we finish. So now MongoDB is installed. Let's try connecting. Let's first find out where is it installed. It should be in C drive, RAM files, MongoDB, server 3.4 or whatever version you have installed, and under bin we have lots of files. So MongoDB is database server. So let's run that so that we create an instance of the server and we can get connected to this server. So now next step is to connect to it as a client. So either you can uh, go to command line and then navigate to this folder and launch this mongo.exe, or I can just double click on this mongo.exe. So now I'm connected to Mongo database server, which is running on this system itself. But let's try to switch the database. Use test. It is connected to MongoDB on this IP address and port, and the version is 3.4 and all these things. And before we proceed any further with MongoDB, we also need to learn a little bit about JSON, because MongoDB uses JSON notation to store data. So what is JSON? Let's open its website and take a quick look at that. json.org. JSON stands for JavaScript Object Notation, and to be straightforward, it is all about storing data in key value pairs, such as, let's say, name colon Sanjay and closing braces. To add more attributes, we include a comma here and then say password colon say Sanjay123, and let's add another attribute, email, and Sanjay at gmail.com. So this is basically the structure that we create in JSON, and the same is going to be used in MongoDB too. Instead of creating just this structure, let's try to create something that we already know. So in case of RDBMS, I would have created a users table with the similar columns, username, password, email ID, and I would have to store weights related to these users. I would have created a separate table called weight and user ID, which is nothing but a foreign key that refers back to users table, and I would have stored weight and date time in this table, and there could be possibly multiple weight measurements taken on different date times. So to create this, let's go back to our MongoDB. Okay, so we had opened test database or collection as it is called in MongoDB. But let me remind you that if test does not exist, it creates it. So let's say I give a command use test1. It doesn't say test1 doesn't exist, but it switches to test1 or anything that you say. So it is just a, it's if it exists, it uses it. Otherwise, it creates a new collection. So instead of database, henceforth, let's call it as collection. Within collections, we are going to create documents. Documents can be compared to tables of RDBMS, but again, they have their own differences. Anyway, let's get started and start inserting records. And meanwhile, we will also uh, keep looking at how different um, it is in MongoDB. Since we are creating users collection, let's switch to um, users collection and let's insert db dot users. So we always refer to collections while inserting the record, and to insert it we will have two brackets, and then within them we'll have flower brackets and key value pairs. So user colon Sanjay. This is the very basic insert. Let's insert it and see that is inserted. Now let's add additional attributes. Say password colon Sanjay 123 and also email colon Sanjay at gmail.com inserted. As I mentioned early on that we don't have joins in MongoDB, so we need to create subdocuments within these documents so that we store user data as well as weight data inside the same document. So let's see how do we do that. So first I add a comma so that I can add additional subdocument or attribute weights and colon. Now I need to create a sub document here. In order to create sub document, we use square bracket. Within square bracket, I need to use flower bracket so that I can mention the attributes within sub document. If you notice, I added opening as well as closing braces right now so that I don't have to look back and figure out which opening or closing braces or brackets we have to close. Okay, so wait. Let's say I'm 152 pounds this year today, so it's date time colon 11 slash 30 slash 2016, and I would like to have one more weight comma opening bracket flower bracket closing flower bracket weight. Note that if you make a mistake here and write some other attribute or write a spelling mistake, probably it is going to create a different attribute. So be careful about that. It is expected that all these things are going to be done with the front end, in which case you will not be making any mistake. So let's say last year I was 148 pounds and date time is 11/30/2015. So I hit enter, it is inserted. So now let's clear the screen again and take a look at the data. db.users.find. What did we insert? We inserted it in test one. So that's the reason. So instead of users, let's make test one. So we have our record here. Let's pretty up the display a little bit by using pretty command that that shows the same records in a more readable way. So as you can see, weights is appearing as a uh, subdocument. We are at the end of this session and let's recap what we learned so far. We learned basics of MongoDB, launched server and shell instances of MongoDB, and then got connected, created a collection, and after that we learned a little bit about JSON objects, then created insert statements of MongoDB using JSON notation, and then after inserting the records or documents within MongoDB collection, we also listed it out to make sure that it is all inserted and fine. In future sessions, we will learn more about MongoDB and its other commands. Bye.